Love it or hate it, the Front Street Parkade is an iconic structure for the city of New Westminster. And while there are many supporters to have it torn down, Nicolas is not necessarily one of these people. A founding member of BREMED, a collective of architects whose ideas of urban planning go hand in hand with the establishment of lasting and moving experiences, much of Nicolas' past work has involved environmental and graphic design. His graduation project, entitled Imaging New West, is a bold reinterpretation of what the parkade could be for the city. Park space, walking paths, restaurant space, and a hostel all figure into the design. While the fate of the parkade is undetermined, Nicolas' ideas are certainly bold and progressive. Please welcome our next presenter, Nicolas Robitaille.
So, like you said, I'm here today to talk to you about my graduation project that took place right here behind you on the Front Street Parkade. My idea was to rehabilitate the top level of the parkade into something more social, something more green, and to add an iconic structure that would span all the way from Columbia Street to the Fraser River. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I got to architecture. I come from a graphic design background. After that, I made my way to environmental design, where I studied products, furniture, and space design. I was interested in buildings, so I decided to push things a little bit further. But when it came time to wrap up my master's and to pick a subject for my graduation project, I wanted something that could wrap up all the skills that I learned before. I was always interested in graphic design, and I will always be interested in marketing and branding. So I was looking for a way of uniting graphic design and architecture. Really early in the process, I came across this quote by Bruce Ma, who's a really famous Canadian graphic designer, who said, cities are not only in the business of making themselves anymore, but also marketing themselves. From that point, I knew I wanted to do something iconic, something that would market cities. So I kind of framed my thesis with the question, how can a localized architecture intervention improve the image of a whole city while at the same time act in the best interest of a community? That question is really generic in a sense, because it could be applied to any city that is struggling to find its own identity. At that point, what I needed was a testing ground. New Westminster was the perfect candidate for that. But I needed to know a little bit more about New West. Who is New West? What is it about? The next step was to do a little bit of research. So I studied the key events, the institutions, the landmarks, the numbers that make this city. And I met with Blair Fryer, who's your communication manager here at the city. And he summarized New West in 3 really simple words, which are community, history, and heritage. So I came up with the key message for my project, which is identity and vibrancy. Because I know Tourism New Westminster is trying to market this place as a young and vibrant community. And identity is also really important, because this place is not Vancouver. It should never be considered an extension of Vancouver. It's New West. It's a city of its own. The next step after that was to find a site. For me, downtown New West was a natural choice because of the visibility. Because you always see New West. You always see downtown New West from New West, and also from outside New West and from the Sky Bridge. And I was interested in the parkade too, mostly because of the visibility, like I said, and also the utilization, which is a little bit low. It's down to 38% these days. And I know there's a big debate right now about whether or not we should keep the parkade. But what I did is that I proposed to find ways of using it. I looked at the challenges that the downtown area was facing. The number of parks is insufficient. The space for casual gatherings is lacking. The access to waterfront is deficient. All those things can be answered with physical solutions, but I needed something more than just physical solutions. I needed a program that would attract people, make people talk about New West. So my idea was to build on the idea of industrial history on the banks of the Fraser River, but only this time I would focus on artistic production. The architectural intervention can be divided in 3 moves. First one is the reappropriation of the parkade. The second one is the addition of a bridge. And the third one is the addition of the incubator, which is an art space that is right in the Fraser River. I started by looking at the parkade and at how it could be reused as in a temporary or semi-permanent way. Parts of it could be removed to introduce more natural light inside. Trees could be added to hide portions of the structure. Gardening containers could be added to the top level, and then relaxation, playground, and family activities could take place on that level once it's more diversified. As we move east to the parkade, the space will become more social with the addition of a flea market on the weekend, for example. The platforms and the footbridges would define and vary the space. You can see in the background on this image the second design move, which is the bridge. It's cladded in curtain steel as a reminder of the industrial past of New West. At the point where the bridge meets the parkade at 6th Street, houses a public plaza. The bridge creates a shelter for people to meet comfortably. The location is central. The place is designed to be a hub between the various attractions around the site. It's home of the information desk, the hostel, a cafe, and a restaurant reception. So this is a view of the restaurant on Columbia Street. The structure creates a gateway to attract people to the parkade and to the views to the Fraser River. The figure protects and frames the former Bank of Commerce in a way that reveals a rich coexistence of past and present in the U.S. And I don't know if you can see here, there's a pattern on the facade that reminds the foam on top of a beer, because the restaurant would be a place where the Westminster Brewing Club would serve their products. The central part, you can see it here, but the central part of the bridge would contain a hostel, artist unit, and a kitchen. And then when you get to the south end of the figure, there's an elevated viewpoint for people to enjoy the views of the Fraser River. The structure is see-through, ever-changing. It shows that there's always something happening in New Westminster. And the rugged finish contrasts with the pristine look in Vancouver in a way that accentuates the uniqueness of New Westminster. And the low and horizontal form also goes against the high-rise culture. And then with this last slide, I'm showing that arts could be displayed on the parkade. There's so many ways of using this parkade for the time it's there. Thank you.